Just because you live in a small rental apartment doesn't mean that your living room can't make a big, bold statement. And peel and stick wallpaper can be a beautiful way to do that. Since I moved into this apartment a few months ago, up until now, my living room has felt kind of lackluster. Don't get me wrong, she looked good, but she wasn't living up to the potential I knew she possessed. She seemed a little shy, and it turns out that all my living room needed was some dark floral wallpaper to bring her out of her shell. I'll stop personifying my living room now, but honestly, it kind of feels like a person who just discovered their identity. Anyway, now that I have my wallpaper up, in this video, I want to take you around my living room and show you what it looks like now. And then also talk about the process of styling it and making it into this moody, dark, maximalism sanctuary. And if you're new here, my name is Steffi, and on this channel I talk about small apartment styling tips, cozy living, and the joys of living alone. So if you're into that, consider subscribing. So let me show you around the place after you say hello to Hilo. Are you ready to show them how beautiful our living room is, Hilo? Do you like the new floral wallpaper? You do. You love it. That's what I thought. Okay, let's show them around. So here is my dark and moody and dramatic living room in all its glory. As you can see, at least in my opinion, the wallpaper has taken this living room to an entirely new level, and now it feels like my living room. Now, in the wake of putting up this wallpaper, I've made some other little changes that were inspired by this big change. And the first styling ripple, you could say, is moving this mirror over here. Basically, what made me decide to put this mirror here is I wanted to be able to see the wallpaper from the couch. You know, I spend most of my time facing this direction, which means that I personally don't get to see this behind me. So the mirror makes it so that I can see at least a piece of all that prettiness. So that's something to consider. Like when you're using a mirror to open up a room, think about what's actually reflecting in the mirror. When the mirror was right there, it was reflecting like nothing special, but now it's reflecting like so many pretty things. It's the wallpaper, it's the lighting, it's the pillows, it's the coffee table. Like now there's like this picture that I get to look at, you know? Now the movement of the mirror from there to here meant that I had to figure out a way to cover up all this wiring. See, this is where my internet modem thing has to be, and obviously that is very aesthetically not pleasing, and the mirror was covering that. So I just decided to use this blanket basket and then a little touch of sparkle on top of it, and voila, the wiring is covered for the most part. And the overall result visually for this little corner is this, and I'm into it. Now, the next thing that changed was this rug. Now, if you watched this video that I did recently, it covered the whole saga of choosing a damn rug for this living room. It's been quite the journey. and I have changed it yet again. This is the rug that I had in my little office area in my studio apartment. The downside is it is a bit small, so I'm not sure if this is the final result when it comes to a rug in here, but I'm sticking with it for now to see if I warm up to the size of it. I mean, it's tricky in this living room because this wall is at an angle. I mean, see how the edge of this comes right up against it? When I get a larger rug for this living room, it kind of runs into that wall. And so I have to really finagle it so that it doesn't happen that way. Anyway, because of the limitations of this living room, I am sticking with this rug for now, and then we'll see. I love the pattern of it. I think it's really cool, and it definitely speaks to the wallpaper nicely. They're having a nice little dark pattern conversation with each other, you know? Then another thing that has changed in this living room is this little desk. Now this is actually my ex-boyfriend's desk. He just moved out of the apartment that we shared together. The lease was up, so he is officially out of the building now. And I am holding on to this desk for him for now. I mean, I might give it back depending on if he eventually needs it, but I'm really liking it in the space. I mean, I was needing something here anyway. I wanted to get a console table or just, I don't know, something. And so this works really nicely for now. And I'm of course really loving how Beck is just gonna be watching over me while I'm cozied up on the couch over here. And for now, it's just some really nice, simple styling. This is as close to minimalism as I get. And then finally, what needs to happen next is I need to figure out what to do with this piece of wall over here. See how it's looking quite sparse? I've decided that I don't want the armchair there anymore, which is sad because that's Hilo's chair and she loves it. But honestly, she spends I'd say 85% of her time on my lap anyway. So I think she'll be fine when I do get rid of that chair. And I do still have it. It's actually over here, just for the sake of this video. I will be moving it back for the time being, but I wanted to get an idea of what I could possibly do instead. So for now, I just have the pampas grass sort of filling in some space there, and my beautiful PlayStation. So as you can see, this is the next phase, that I need to figure out. Let me know in the comments, what do you think I should do here? Let me know if you have any styling ideas for this kind of no man's land empty space. So other than that, I'm really feeling like this living room is in a wonderful place. It doesn't feel incomplete anymore. And it really is thanks to this wallpaper. And now my living room feels like a true oasis, just for me, you know? So now that you've seen what the living room is looking like now, I'm gonna just share a little bit about the process of getting here, because this is the closest I've gotten to this living room feeling complete-ish. There's still some things that I want to do, as I said, as I was taking you around, but now that this wallpaper is up, it really is starting to feel like it's almost there.
And if you've put any effort into decorating any room in your apartment, I'm sure you can relate. It takes time before things start to feel like they're really coming together in the way that you envisioned. And my vision for this living room back from the beginning was to create, you know, that like dark, moody, maximalist vibe that I love so much. And I basically just wanted to feel consumed by prettiness the second I walk into my living room. I like my pretty to be a little aggressive. So of course I had the Pinterest board that sort of put, you know, the visuals into my head, and I really started just like daydreaming about what the living room could look like in this specific apartment. And that's a big tip I have for you if you are just starting your living room decor, or if you're in the process of it, is to really have a strong vision in your head. It doesn't have to be like exact, but it should be like this fantasy that you have in your head. I think a big part of the styling process for me is to literally just daydream about what the space could look like. If you don't have a pretty clear vision of the type of style, the type of aesthetic that you want to go for, that's a recipe for feeling completely like scrambled, you know, like a chicken with its head cut off. And then you go shopping and you're just a headless chicken. And in that state, you are less likely to buy the things that will actually make you happy in your space every day. So once I had this general vision in my head of what I wanted the space to kind of look like, the styling process could begin. And really the starting point of this process was this couch. Once I decided to get this gold velvet sectional from Article, it's the Sven Yarrow Gold sectional. If you want to look it up, I will link to it below. Once I decided to get this couch, it was kind of the catalyst for the overall look of the living room. Like if you choose a couch like this in a bold color like gold, you're kind of making a commitment that there's gonna be some drama up in here. So choosing this couch definitely set me in a certain direction in terms of what this living room was gonna look like. And really this commitment aligned with my vision. So it was a good commitment to make. It's been a good partnership. So I guess a tip I have for you based on this is that sometimes all you need is a strong starting point, a strong visual that allows the rest of your styling to fall into place a bit more easily. For a living room, this is often the couch because it's such a central piece, both functionally and visually. So it can definitely serve as that strong starting point. All I'm saying is that if you just take it one step at a time and find just one successful piece that you really love for your space, that one piece can help you make the upcoming decisions on how you style the rest of your space. It can just give you more clarity, you know, and start that like domino effect of styling decisions. And speaking of that domino effect, my follow-up tip to that is that the styling process really is iterative. It happens in multiple stages over time. I've been in this apartment for 7 months now, and this has definitely been a multi-phase process, which is exactly what I'm elaborating on right now. So reality is that this takes time. It takes exploration and experimentation. It takes making mistakes and then trying other things. You know, it is a step-by-step process. And just accept that and have fun with that. My first iteration of my living room styling process looked like this. It was a mix of things I already owned and a few things that I ordered specifically for this new apartment. Then the next phase for my living room styling process looked like this. I tackled both of these big walls, which are definitely a challenge. Big walls always are. And it was with this phase that things started to feel like they were coming together. I started feeling like I was getting a little closer to that vision I had, but it still felt incomplete. This is where I realized that I needed to do something big and bold in order for this living room to truly feel like it's mine. And that's where the wallpaper came in. So as you might know if you've been keeping up with my videos, this wallpaper was originally gonna go in the bedroom behind my bed because that's what I did in the previous apartment and it looked so beautiful. I loved that bedroom so much and the wallpaper was like the star of the show in that room. And since I had initially planned on staying in that apartment way longer than I ended up staying, I had thought that I would have more time with that beautiful wallpaper. Then me and my then boyfriend broke up and I decided to get out of there and I no longer had the wallpaper that I so loved. So instead of cheating myself out of having the time with that beautiful wallpaper, I decided to just order it again. I will link to it in the description. Highly recommend this Etsy shop. They're amazing and the quality of this peel and stick wallpaper is just amazing. So yeah, I decided to order this wallpaper again, but unfortunately the wall in my bedroom is too big. They would have had to double up the image because if they didn't, they would have had to stretch the image out and that would lower the quality of the resolution. So instead of, having a double image, which I think would have taken away from the impact of this piece, I decided to just do it in the living room instead. And I am so glad that it worked out this way because I spend more time in my living room than I do in my bedroom anyway, and it makes a really beautiful first impression when I first walk into the space, So this all worked out. And now having this wallpaper up, it's like reignited my vision for the living room. Like I was talking about earlier, sometimes all it takes is one single styling decision, and then that can set you up for a whole bunch of other styling decisions, It starts that domino effect of styling decisions. And that's exactly what happened, when I put this up. Now, I made a couple other changes, which you saw when I took you through, and I have a clearer idea of what I want to do next. So I guess the main takeaway here is to not be afraid to make bold statements that align with your initial vision and help you tell the visual story of your space. This big, bold statement of mine in the form of wallpaper has had a huge impact in making this living room of mine finally feel like my home. I'm really starting to feel like this apartment is becoming that home for me, I moved here in a time of great turmoil. So it took maybe a little more time for me to settle in here than it has in past apartments. And therefore the styling process has come together a bit more slowly than I would have liked. I've been going through like a bit of an identity crisis and, like I've said so many times before, you have to get your head straight before you get your home straight. And my head not being the straightest it's ever been has definitely slowed down the styling process for me. But I'm starting to feel like it's finally coming together, and that my apartment can be that sanctuary, you know, a space that I have ownership over, even though I'm renting. And if you're curious to see this whole styling saga unfold from the beginning when I moved in a few months ago, I definitely recommend you watch this playlist. It documents the entire journey. So if you like the idea of watching someone start with an empty apartment and then decorate it to this point, give that a watch.